Flickin Off episode 9, baby. We got a good one for you. I'm Marc. That's my cousin Jacob. And today we wanted to get into a movie that we all know and love. And this one is a classic. Before Kevin Smith became the guy behind Clerks and Chasing Amy, he actually had another script sitting in his notebook. And it was this crazy religious satire called Dogma. And he started it in the early 90s, back when he was still a practicing Catholic, and he was wrestling with big questions about faith, church rules, and what belief really means to him. And I think that's why we all love this film, is because we all struggle with that same belief and what religion really truly means to us. And Smith has always said the point wasn't really to slam religion. It was just his way of exploring his own faith while taking shots at the institutions around it. But here's the thing. After Clerks took off, he kind of shelved Dogma for a few years because, guys, remember, he was writing this script while he was shooting Clerks. And it was just too ambitious and too controversial for a guy who had only made one film, a black and white indie about a convenience store, which I get it. That movie's great, guys. But at the time, you're not going to get enough push backed with a movie like that to do something as ambitious and culture clashing as this. And when he finally had the clout, he dusted it off and went all in. And the result was a movie that's both a love letter to faith and a bold middle finger to Dogma itself. And of course, no Kevin Smith story is complete without drama. And Disney wanted nothing to do with this movie from the beginning. It was a religious firestorm, so they forced Miramax to drop the film. And the Weinsteins then shifted Dogma to a different distributor. And it left Smith caught between making his most personal film and navigating the kind of industry politics like nobody really wants or ever asked for. And that mix of belief, satire, and chaos is what makes Dogma such a one-of-a-kind movie and experience, and it's why we're breaking it down today. So let's get into it, baby. Let's flick off. Jacob, I know you love this movie. Me and you, we just went to the theater in Richmond and saw it. We saw the 25th anniversary because, guys, if you haven't noticed, Kevin Smith said he got the rights back, and he will be re-releasing this film on a major release, guys. So everyone's going to be able to acquire this film. Recently, up until now, I think you can all look. I tried watching this, but this will be the only movie that I did not watch leading up to this episode, simply because I've seen it throughout the years millions of times. I don't really need to see it again, but you can't watch it anywhere. You cannot buy it anywhere other than a place.
Physical copy.
You need a physical copy.
Copies. Yeah.
And if you want,
I've been a fan of Kevin Smith since the 90s. I used to have this one on VHS. I wish I hadn't have gotten rid of it, but I got rid of most of my VHS back in the day, and but I burnt this one up. Like, I watched it a bunch of times. It's always been one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies.
I wonder how much that VHS would be worth right now.
I don't think the VHS or the DVDs are too expensive. The Blu-ray they released is sort of expensive online if you can find one, but I think they'll go down in price once Kevin releases this 4K. He says he's going to release. He hasn't dropped a release date. I wish he would. Go ahead. You got the rights back, Kevin. Give it to us.
Hurry up, Kevin. We're tired of waiting.
Yeah.
But it is soon, guys. It is soon. Me and Jacob got a lot of cool shit to talk about for this episode. We got a personal story we wanted to share with y'all before we went and saw the 25th anniversary at a local theater in Richmond, Virginia. We got some cool stuff about just the religious backlash that this film got. And it was, it wasn't necessarily asked for. I think if anybody that is truly religious watches this film would go, okay, it's not that bad. Like, it's kind of funny. And what makes comedy great, guys, is it's not meant to be taken serious or literal. And I think far too many people did after watching it, and certainly way too many people did without even seeing one fucking second of it. So yeah. I don't know where we want to start. We could jump into whatever you want, Jacob.
Well, yeah, we'll throw some basic bitch facts out there. Like, Came out in 1999. It was originally supposed to come out in 98, but they sort of stalled the release date because of the controversy around it. You know, budget's estimated at like 10 million. It made 33.6 at the box office, but I think this is one of those movies that like was probably made a lot of money in the rental market. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people, I didn't go to see it in the theater back when it came out. And I think most people saw it through the rental market, obviously. Um,
It was played
it's got a
on it was played on a lot of local televisions like stations like Comedy Central, TBS had it up there for a
oh
while.
yeah.
Super edited, but I mean, regardless, I mean, it was on television a lot. I remember that growing up.
Yeah, it's got a great cast and like a lot of Kevin Smith movies, it's very dialogue heavy. I think it's got to be the parts that aren't comedy, that are just talking about religion, it's gotta be some of the most interesting Kevin Smith dialogue that's out there.
Man,
It's really good. It's like, and it really feels like, I mean, I'm not Catholic. My wife comes from a Catholic background, but she never practiced Catholicism either. It's really like just rooted in so much like Catholic dogma that, talking about the different choirs of angels and the different rules. It's a really cool film. You know, a lot of people, if you're a fan of this movie, you probably heard a lot of the sort of lore around it, like, some of the interesting stuff. Um, I know you wanted to mention like him going to protest his own movie.
oh
So
yeah.
like,
Oh
you
man.
know, talk about that for a second.
So yeah, I mean, I was researching this, and Kevin Smith is really integrated in the schools, and when he did Clerks, the big thing about Clerks was how cheap it was to make. It was a black and white film, and it was in the box office with films like Pulp Fiction. So I think that really pushed him into like these people in school trying to be screenwriters and get in film, falling in love with this man. So he got a lot of invitations to go and do speeches, and he was given a lot of awards. And I watched a lot of those speeches. And there was one that he did at Cornell, and he talked about the time he was sitting at home in New Jersey, and he read in the paper that there was going to be a protest for the movie Dogma at the local theater there in New Jersey. And he looked to his wife and said, well, we got to go to this. And his wife was like, are you fucking nuts? Like, no, we're not going to your own protest. He's like, no, this would be really good. We really got to do this. He calls up one of his friends. I think his name was Brian.
Yeah,
And
Brian Johnson.
Brian
Yeah.
Johnson. And he's like, Brian, we're going to this. So he was like, come to my house. We're going to make us some protest signs. And they went all out on these signs. He even said it in the interview. They used glitter. One sign said Dogma is dog shit. And the other sign said like something like Dogma is a disgrace or something. I forget. But they show up to this protest fully expecting there to be 1,500 people there, because that's what it said in the paper. And when they get there, they realize it's only like 15 folks. And all of
Yeah.
these people at the theater protesting are in their age group of 65 to 80, 15 to 20 years older than Kevin, his wife, or Brian. They get out of the car, they get their signs, they walk up, and they're sitting side by side. I think they're far off enough from the movie theater that they're sitting on the street, and when people drive in, they'll see the protest. They start praying, and they're like mumbling prayers to each other. Next thing you know, a news truck pulls up, and the newswoman gets out, and she looks at Kevin, a little bit, and she looks back at her clipboard, and she's looking at Kevin. And she's trying to figure out, like, is this Kevin fucking Smith? And she approaches Kevin and asks him, like, yo, like, who are you? And he said some bullshit name. I think he used Brian Johnson's name.
He did. He used Brian's name.
He said, I'm Brian Johnson. And she looks back at her clipboard, and she looks back at Kevin. And he actually made the news, guys, like, holding this sign that said Dogma is dog shit. It was Kevin Smith. And I mean, I love that he did that. I think it shows just how silly the whole religious controversy behind the film was. When you watch this film, I could understand if you're truly indebted in your faith or rooted in your faith in a way that you can't really just comprehend anything that goes off script. But I don't think Kevin Smith did that with this film. I think it was a very productive and meaningful way to go about questioning the dogma that truly exists, not just in Catholicism, but in all religious fields. I mean, but that was
Yeah,
something really cool that I read that I did not know about up until like a couple days ago, and I thought it was hilarious.
I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something to the effect. Actually, I've got the quote somewhere. What did he say? He said, he was talking about how it was his expression of faith. You mentioned that in the intro. But he says this movie has a rubber poop monster in it. Can you imagine getting that irate over a
Dude, yeah,
movie with a rubber poop monster in it? Like, because it's
yeah.
like, how do people take this seriously? Like, it's not like, you
Could you
know,
imagine explaining to your parents that you were getting death threats because you made a movie with a poop monster in it, dog? Like, come on, dog.
I think, for people who, I would hope that most fans of this show at least know who Kevin Smith is and have seen some of his movies, whether they're fans or not. But if you haven't, you definitely need to go and check him out. He's a 90s independent filmmaker, and he uses a lot of the same like actors in a lot of his films, especially his early films. And a lot of the actors that he used in Clerks and Mallrats and Chasing Amy pop up in this movie. I mean, you know, he's had Ben Affleck in a ton of movies. Matt Damon's
Oh
popped up
man,
in a couple of them. Uh,
what better way for this movie?
Brian O'Halloran, and
Jason
Jeff
Lee.
from Jason Lee, a lot of the guys from Clerks, and then all the guys that went on to do like the show Comic Book Men. You know, Brian Quinn's in there, Brian Johnson, Walt Flanagan, Ming Chen is in this thing. Like, they all sort of make appearances somewhere, and I always thought that's really cool that he like kept his friends around and kept the people around that like helped make his first movie successful when he was basically a nobody. Because for people who don't know, just a little backstory on how he got started. Like, when he made Clerks, he basically went out and got as many credit cards as he could get and just maxed them out to their limit. He spent $25,000 on credit cards making the movie and turned it into a success and was able to pay them all off and become a legitimate director from doing that. Like,
And that's
pretty
awesome.
crazy.
I don't think you could get away with that these days. But
No, not really. I mean, this movie podcast I used to listen to said any avenue that a filmmaker finds to get in, that doorway is almost always shut after that. And you have to find a new
yeah,
way to like squirrel your way into the system. I mean, the great thing about it now is that the technology to make a movie is so much cheaper than it was back when he first started. Like, just to buy film was expensive as hell to make these movies. And like Dogma, like you said, it was his biggest, most ambitious project that he had
it was
ever
his
done
certainly
at the
his most
time.
personal at the time as well. I mean,
Yeah.
this is something he wanted to do and he was capable of doing. Not Clerks was, I think, like you said, he only had $25,000 and he had to make a script work. And I think Clerks was brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm a bigger fan of the sequel. That's just me. Don't really like black and white stuff, but I still like Clerks. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love that. I love that fucking. I could quote that movie all day. Like, don't try not to suck any dick on your way to the parking lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but
the
no, no.
like
What
one
was really good?
interesting fact
No, hold
I
on, hold on.
read was okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Hold on. What was really good? What was really crazy about this film was that Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did this film after Good Will Hunting. They were two of the most renowned screenwriter slash actor duo. And I think Matt Damon was certainly far more than Ben Affleck at the time, if you ask me, just because of that role. So I think that's another reason we had to point out, because I think that's why this movie is so fucking massive, dude. Is like,
Yeah.
it was just a cataclysm of just
And they both
awesome
kill it in
names and they oh my god, the
They're so good.
monologues, like, dude, the
Yes.
monologues with Bartleby and Loki are some of the most brilliant writing, period. Like, it's brilliant writing, brilliant dialogue, brilliant struggles created between characters and their own self, and not just the other characters in the screen. It was. I mean, dude, it's a phenomenal film, including the poop monster. So just wanted to put that out. Like, yeah.
One of the things that I learned, like, researching this a little bit more, because I thought I knew a decent amount of the lore around Dogma, was early on, Kevin asked Robert Rodriguez to direct this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Robert Rodriguez, so give me the script. And he read it, and he was like, dude, this is too personal of a movie. This is your movie. Like, you've got to make this. Nobody can make this but you. And gave it back to him. So, like, I thought that was really cool, because
That is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good, you talk about being a good person and a director at the same time. Like, he could have easily just took that, made it a bullet on his resume. But
Yeah.
I think artists appreciate art appreciates art in this circumstance. So I'm glad he did it. I'm glad Kevin got away with this one, man, for sure. I guess it'd be a good time to talk about the lighter story, or we can, you know what? No, let's spit out some more facts. I wanted to drop this fact because I thought I knew a lot about this movie as well, but I didn't. And researching this project, I found out that Bartleby and Loki weren't originally supposed to be Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. I actually read that Matt Damon got drawn in afterwards because Jason Lee had got casted to be in some French comedy, and it was called American Cuisine, I think was the name of the movie. And he really wanted to do it. I think, aside from how much money he was going to get, he looked at it as an opportunity for him to get eyeballs in him in the European world and screen world and all that jazz. They were going to teach him how to speak French for this. So he looked at it as a way to, like, culturally increase his volume as well as increase the amount of people that see him. And he told Kevin, and he was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do, both movies. And Kevin was like, well, then you can't go. He's like, well, I want to do this movie. I'm going to go. So when he goes, he told Ben, he's like, well, Jason Lee's out. We need a new Loki. And I think the way it went down was Ben was like, I know Matt'll do it. I'll just call him up. So he calls up, Matt's going to do it. But then the filming for Dogma got pushed back a little bit further than they intended. They wanted to film it sooner, but it got pushed back a little bit more because of logistical purposes. Jason Lee gets done with his film. He comes back and he goes, hey, like, can I still be in the movie? Because you haven't even started filming yet. And Kevin was like, you can, but we kind of already, casted your part to Matt. He's like, what do you think about playing Ezreal? Which at the time, and I think I started thinking about this in my head a little bit, Ezreal was supposed to be played by Alec Baldwin, who at this time had to be worth a pretty penny to be casted in the movie. I don't think Alec Baldwin, judging from his new real life, in the Life of Alec Baldwin show, and I'm watching him and his wife and all his kids, is working for bare minimum to be in a religious firestorm of a film. So I think Kevin Smith, when Jason came back, just knew, like, I could use him, a friend, someone I've worked with before, won't have to pay him as much money. So they made him Ezreal. But I thought that was cool how Jason Azrael. Jason Lee was supposed to be Loki, didn't, came back. Alec Baldwin was supposed to play Azrael, and he never did. And I just thought that was cool for the listeners. I mean, could you imagine Alec Baldwin in Dogma? I mean, I don't know.
Dude, this movie's got a ton of quotable lines, but one of my favorite comes from Jason Lee. And it's not one I think a lot of people would quote, but when he gets killed by a golf club later in the film, he goes, but I'm a fucking demon. Like, the way he says it, like, he can't believe he's been killed. He's like, I'm a fucking
I'm a
demon.
fucking
Like,
demon, dude.
it's great. I think Jason Lee is much better served in that role than he would have been Loki. No offense to Jason Lee, I love him to death, but Matt Damon just nails it, and I can't imagine it being the other way around. Like, I think it's got to be
I
Matt.
remember Jason saying in the interview, he was like, I'm tired of standing next to Ben anyways. I mean, shit, they had just been in so many movies together, and he's standing in Ben Affleck's shadow. I mean, so I get that. And like you said, I think it worked out beautifully because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck have this chemistry with one another, just like how they did in Good Will Hunting. And it shows. I think one of the first things I said to you in the car, because again, guys, we went to go see this movie at the 25th anniversary when I visited him in Richmond. And when we got out of the theater, the first thing I said when I get in the car is like, dude, that fucking monologue in the like the underground garage with
Yes, that's
Loki
one of
and
my favorites.
dude, it's some of the best writing and some of the best acting I've seen in a comedy. I mean, honestly, I mean this is Ben Affleck in peak prime form, and they give these crazy monologues and they have these arguments going back, especially when they're in the big business meeting room and they're killing all the businessmen off. Like that was a great scene. So yeah, I think casting in itself kind of was like a mixture of the universe making this happen for Kevin in a way that was special for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, one little since you brought it up, because it's in my notes and it's one thing I wanted to mention. When they go and they go to the movies headquarters, which movies is like Kevin's version of McDonald's or something, right? His
And
fast
I
food
think this was the first time
franchise.
that they put movies in his films was
I
Dogma.
think you're right, because then after this, it would have been in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back,
It
and
was,
then
and then
and then it's in Clerks
Clerks
2.
2,
Yeah,
exactly,
so
yeah.
yeah, I think you're right. When they go in, the CEO of movies, the head guy, is played by an actor named Mark Joy, and that guy is a actor from Richmond, and he's not in a ton of stuff, but he's in a few good movies. This is one of them, and he used to do car commercials here in Richmond when I moved
Oh,
here.
wow.
Like, he played a character called Mark Down because they marked down the prices. And like, when I finally made the connection that that guy was in Dogma, because I didn't know who he was back when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. This guy,
I'm from
marked
Richmond
down.
too, like
Yeah. Yeah. And his real name's Mark Joy. He died last year, actually, in
R.I.P.
2024. And a local famous theater we have here in Richmond, Amy was like, you got to mention this. Like the Bird Theater, they had an anti-littering campaign they would play before the movies for years. This like spiel about not littering, and Mark Joy was the guy who did that. And so
That's
shout
cool.
out to any Richmond heads. Mark Joy, local Richmond actor in Dogma. It's awesome.
I also wanted to mention, since we're talking about casting right now, like guys, this was a hard movie to cast for Kevin, especially when handing the script to actors. Like, it's going to take some beautiful minds to be like, yeah, I got no problem doing this. And,
Yeah.
From Chris Rock to, I mean, Salma Hayek,
Yes.
Alanis Morissette. Come on, guys. This casting is brilliant, but almost everyone that he wanted in the film didn't just give him an immediate yes because of scheduling purposes, personal belief, personal constriction, whatever the fuck it may be. But one actor did, and we just got done talking about him, and it's the reason we linked this film, guys. I don't even think we brought up the link yet.
We didn't bring up the link. Yeah,
But the
you're
link
right.
is Alan Rickman, and Alan Rickman, he played Riche in Perfume, Story of a Murderer.
Yep.
Nobody guessed it right, so none of y'all get any kind of anything. You lose, you get nothing. And not only that though, but Alan Rickman was the only one that when presented this script, he immediately said yes. And I think that I wanted to bring that up simply because if you look at Alan Rickman's like filmography leading up to this, it's a bunch of theater roles, serious movie roles, nothing in comedy whatsoever. And this was Alan Rickman's first time venturing into that space. And shout out to a great late Alan Rickman. We call him AKA Lil Snape. We love you, dude. We miss you. And love and support to that family. But yeah, man. And he kills it in this movie. And
On my rewatch this time, I noticed like him and George Carlin, they're both only in about 3 scenes each, and they kill it. I mean, they kill it. Like
You know,
Alan Rickman more on the serious side, like because his character is funny, but he's got a lot of like serious moments too. So he mixes both. George Carlin's just funny. Like I mean,
George
Carlin
Carlin,
it
dude,
just kills it.
for the listeners that don't know, that whole Buddy Christ thing was improv by George Carlin. That wasn't in the script. And I thought that was something to bring up that was kind of cool to me, because in the beginning, that's one of the funniest parts of the first 15 minutes of this film is when George Carlin is like, I introduced to you Buddy Christ, and Buddy Christ comes out. But I read that was completely improvised and they made the statue because of it.
It's funny. It's one of those movies that like I take for granted certain funny parts of it because I've seen it so much now, but it's like stuff like that when I first saw it, it was just hilarious.
Yeah, hilarious,
I mean, it was
man.
so funny. While we're on the cast, I think we got to mention Bethany, Linda Fiorentino.
Oh, yeah. She was brilliant.
I always enjoyed her in this movie. My wife said she wasn't her favorite. She hasn't done a lot of acting, and she didn't do much after this, but she, was actually in some decent movies, and
I thought she worked
really well. I thought she worked really well. Apparently, I don't want to get into too many of the changes, but there were, like a lot of the roles you mentioned before, there were a lot of considerations for other Bethanies and how it would go. And apparently Kevin and her on set did not get along at all and did not speak to each other after this movie was made. And Kevin did a lot of interviews where he said stuff like, oh, I wish I had put Janine Garofalo in her place. And I think Janine would have killed it. I love Janine Garofalo too. She was in the movie for like one scene. But I think this Bethany was the right Bethany. I'm glad it's her. And Kevin later said more recently in the past 5 or 6 years, when he had his heart attack in 2018, Linda was one of the few people to call him and check on him. And he apologized for all the stuff he had said over the years about her, and they sort of made up. So
that's a great thing to point out. Yeah, I mean, guys, the only thing she's ever really been in that was just as big, if not bigger, than Dogma was Men in Black. So,
that, and she was in an early Martin Scorsese movie, After Hours, that was sort of big, but I don't think she played a huge part. So like, that was one cool thing. I think
Chris Rock too. We got to mention Chris Rock.
Oh, you got to mention Chris Rock. Go off on the Rock. I mean, and he's naked in this movie. You don't get full frontal, but you get full rear.
I read that they filmed that scene where he falls from the sky and it introduces the character. They filmed it in Jersey, and he says it to this day. He's never been as cold as he was during that take. And like in between takes, they would have to rush blankets to him because he was so fucking cold. And guys, another fun fact to point out that was the first scene of the script Dogma that was written by Kevin. He's actually said it in a couple of interviews. And the original script, that the name for the script, he just wrote God at the top of a paper, and he wrote that scene where Rufus falls from the sky. And I think the only difference was, instead of Jay and Silent Bob, it was like a jock and a regular kid at school or something along those lines. I forget, but that was the first scene written for the entire film. So I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, this cast, you're never going to see something like this ever again. Not just the story, but like with a cast like this, and how everyone was literally at the cusp of their fucking prime during this film. I mean, even the girl we just talked about, Linda Fiorentino or Fiorentino.
I think it's worth mentioning if like any fans of ours that are in or around the Pittsburgh area, most of this movie was shot in Pittsburgh and Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And you
That's a
can
good
actually
point.
go and see a lot of these locations, the church. My wife said they used to go and drive to where the movies was. That was an old abandoned McDonald's that Kevin turned into the movies up
Oh
on a
wow.
hill. And like I think after that, they renovated it again and turned it back into a fast food restaurant that's still in service today. So you can still go there.
That's
And
cool.
like, I haven't been to the church, but in rewatching it, there's a scene where Alan Rickman, it's late in the film, he comes back into the picture and he does his whole trip like he does early in the movie where he like, snaps his fingers and they're in this fancy restaurant that's in like an old train
Oh yeah,
station.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm watching it, and 20 years ago, when I first met my wife, her father took us to a fancy restaurant in downtown Pittsburgh on the river that was in an old train station. And it just clicked with me. I was like, holy shit, that's that place. And so I looked up the locations on IMDb. Sure enough, I've actually eaten there. I've been in
Oh
that
wow.
place. And I was like, I got to put that in the podcast because
Oh,
it's
that's
still
fucking
open
dope.
to this day. You can still go. It's a nice, fancy restaurant in an old uh, retired train station in downtown Pittsburgh on the
What's it
water. So
called?
I don't even remember what it's called. Like, and it's probably changed owners a
Oh
couple
sure,
times, I
yeah,
would
yeah.
imagine, but um over the time from when he shot there and now, but yeah, like, yeah.
Well, this is a great time to get into a little bit of lore around this movie that me and you have personally. And it happened for the 25th anniversary when we went to the theater.
Yep.
I guess, look, I'm going to tell it. If I'm getting shit fucked up, then you just stop me and let me know. But Jacob had to walk his dog, and I was just there for like a couple of days. I was passing through, I was going to go visit a friend in New York. And as I'm passing through, I stopped at Jacob's, of course. And as we always do, we started talking about film. We watched movies every night. And we went antique shopping one day. And then you had mentioned to me that the 25th anniversary of Dogma was being released at a local theater. And I was like, absolutely. And I think it was along the lines of Amy doesn't want to go and see it with me again. So I'd love to go. We could just go. And I'm like, no fucking, of course. Like, yes, let's go. So we go antique shopping, or I think it was before that. You had to go walk the dog. And we're walking the dog. We're talking about Dogma. And then we start talking about our own religious beliefs. And I was still going through a very difficult time in my life right now. And I was expressing that to Jacob and and Jacob, I don't know what you want to say or what, I think we both have struggled with religious belief in our entire upbringing. I mean,
Yeah, you're definitely have leaned more religious than I have over the years. You know, I was raised Christian, but never really in adulthood practiced Christianity. Like, and it's funny in thinking about this podcast and thinking about it. I think it was either one of two questions that I asked you, two different things we were talking about on our walk. One was whether you believed that people who had never heard of God before, like maybe somebody living in the jungles who had never been exposed to Christianity, are those people going to hell too? That was one of them. And the other question was, do you really think that there are people around who are being influenced by the devil? You know?
right. Yeah.
And
You
as
were
we're
like,
talking about that, I just see a lighter on the ground and I pick it up and I'm like, oh, this thing is full. Like it was like a
it's a
brand new lighter.
look like
So I
it
was like,
like liquid full to the top, guys.
yeah. One of
Brand
those
new
cheap
fucking lighter.
guys, one of the cheap ones, a neon green one that you could see through, one of those cheapy guys. And so I'm like, I'm pocketing this, I put it in
Yeah.
my pocket. And so then what happens? We go to the Dogma 25th anniversary. And we have a slightly different memory about this.
And this is what's going to make this. This is what's going to make the episode great, because look, guys, we're sitting and we're watching this film, and as we're like, the theater's packed too. Like, the whole theater is packed. Jacob's sitting next to someone. I'm on the aisle, and we're watching the movie. And there's a diner scene. There's a couple of scenes in my mind, in my memory, and they're using the exact same fucking lighter. And I remember during the conversation, it was like, does God give you signs? Like, I asked Jacob, has God ever given you a sign? Like, have you ever asked him for a sign, or, just anything happened to you out of the blue that just like made you feel like you were being listened to, or, and of course Jacob was like, no. And he tried to ask me the same question, and I tried to think of certain things, but it just wasn't enough to get anyone to truly believe, like, in the dogma surrounding all of literally what we were talking about is what the fucking movie was like about. Like, and then we get to the theater, and the same lighter that we found just lying on the street, guys, brand new fucking lighter, same color, same model, was in the film. And I remember Jay messing with it. I remember Linda Fiorentino using it a little bit, but Jacob distinctively remembers it at this campfire scene.
I remember it at the campfire scene.
And in my mind, I remember Jay specifically, and I hope to fucking
I remember Jay having it too. That was what I remembered. Yeah.
I remember Jay messing with it at the diner. He's like flipping it in his hands while they're going back and forth. And this is the fucked up thing, guys.
So this is, you want me to tell? Like,
yeah, go ahead. Like,
so then I rewatch it to get ready for this. Now, this is on the DVD version, right?
Yeah, so explain the time period that this DVD came out.
The DVD would have probably come out when the movie came out. So 99, 2000, right? Whenever it was released on home video. It does not have this in it. What it has in it is it has early in the movie the scene with Janine Garofalo at the abortion clinic. She takes a lighter. She has that exact same lighter, and it's in that scene. It doesn't show up anywhere else in the movie.
Right.
But when Marc and I left the theater, I was like, did you see that lighter? And Marc was like, yeah, dude, it blew my mind.
My mind.
So then I'm like looking everywhere online, like, we're not crazy. We saw this freaking thing. We both saw it, and we were talking about it after we left the theater. Now, apparently, there's a ton of deleted scenes from this movie. So I went through all the ones with Jay in it. Like, it's got to be in there, right? Maybe Kevin slipped it back in the movie. It's not in any of the deleted scenes. So then I did a little bit more digging. Apparently, from unconfirmed sources, Kevin did reinsert some footage that had never been seen before into the 25th anniversary release. Now it's in theaters, gone, and he's going to release a 4K, but we don't know if it's going to actually be that version.
Yes.
So unless he releases the 4K that has this in it, we're just going to sound like a couple of crazy guys who are making something up. But we know that what we saw.
We know what we saw.
It's going to be on the 4K version, and we're hoping we're getting to give everybody a little tidbit of something we know that nobody else knows yet, that it's going to be on the 4K. Because if it was just one of us, I would be like, we're just misremembering it. But we both walked out of there and talked about it afterwards. So
the whole car ride home. So that's what's great about. That's why I wanted to do this episode, strictly because of that. I was like, Alan Rickman, I can link Dogma and we can talk about this, but we are gonna sound like a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah.
If this 4K version gets released and that scene isn't in it. So I'm hoping that whatever version that the theater got that we saw that day is the actual version that Kevin Smith got his rights back, re-edited, inserted some archive footage, and it was including that green lighter. But even more to that, I am praying to the Lord above that Kevin Smith hears this episode and can comment on this video and give us some clarification.
Say you're right, guys. Just let us know you're right.
Yeah,
You're not crazy.
just let us know we're right. You don't even gotta follow us, even though I love you and I wish you would. But Kevin, please, it's driving us crazy. And what's really special about it is just the conversation that me and Jacob were having. Has God ever presented itself in a way to you that speaks more than just the lore around whatever word you read or, inspirational quote you get? Like, we actually were having a discussion about faith and religion. And just like Rufus, this perfect fucking green lighter falls out of the sky damn near. We pick it up, and it just was a weird thing. We didn't think nothing about it until 8 hours later. We're in the theater watching this, and we see the same fucking lighter. And
yeah.
I still think about it. It gives me goosebumps. And we wanted to share that with you guys. And it's a big reason why I chose this film. I mean, aside from the fact that this movie is loved by the millions, and we knew this has a cult following, and where I'm actually a little bit surprised. I think Perfume's Story of a Murderer has a bit of a cult following too, because we did get a couple of comments, and they said they loved the movie. It's a really beautiful story. And I mean, so that's pretty much,
I'm reading the book right now, and I am super enjoying it.
You are.
It's really good. I'm not going to spoil anything for people. They need to go and watch our episode on it. But there are some definite differences in the book. Like, it's really...
Sure.
Like, there's so much of it is spot on, exact same thing, but some of it is so different that I think there's something to enjoy from reading it and from watching the movie. But it's written really well, and I really like it, but I love the movie so much that I'm actually glad I saw the movie first. Because it makes me enjoy the book in a different way. Because I hear John Hurt narrating it, the guy who narrates the movie. Like, I hear him narrating the book as I'm reading it. Like, I love it. But
I gotta read that book now too. I guess I gotta go get me a library card.
Yeah,
go get me a copy.
I'm gonna check my notes here and just make sure there's nothing crazy I wanted to say. Well, here's a little fact. Kevin Smith said he got over 400,000 pieces of hate mail when this movie came out.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of hate mail.
Who has time to write a hateful letter to someone? Like,
I think that's it. As far as there were some things that I really wanted to get in there. I wanted to get in the train station stuff. I wanted to get in the Richmond actor, but I think a lot of people... it's not like we need to sit here and dissect the comedy of this movie.
We're not going
You just
to.
got to watch it. You got to laugh. You either like it or you don't.
If you haven't seen Dogma, it's just one of those ones that you missed for whatever reason, and you need to go see it. I mean, it's not just one of, if not Kevin Smith's greatest film he's ever done. I'll let you, as a fan of film, make your own decision on that. Jacob's is Dogma, I'm pretty sure.
I think it is my favorite. I mean,
mine's
it's probably
Clerks.
A close tie between that and the original Clerks.
Mine's is Clerks too. And shout out Kevin Smith. That is one of the funniest movies I've ever fucking seen in my life. And I almost kind of wish Rosario Dawson played the woman at the abortion clinic, Bethany, in Dogma. I think that'd have been interesting too. Now that I'm thinking about it, that was just a spurt out of the moment comment, but
I really love his other movie that touches on religion, Red State. It's pretty much the only serious movie he did with Michael Parks, and it's about these teens who get kidnapped by religious
oh man.
I mean I like a lot of the Kevin Smith stuff. I love it. I haven't seen his newest movie, 4:30 movie, but I'll check it out at some point.
Yeah, I haven't seen all his films, but I loved Clerks. I loved Clerks 2. I thought Clerks 2, when when the two workers at movies, I forget their name, but it's Dante's best friend and then the new character they introduce. When they get into it about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, man, like it is some of the best dialogue I've ever seen in my fucking life. And even the third one that came out on Amazon.
Oh, I love the third one too.
The third one is great.
The first time I watched it, I was the comedy wasn't quite as there for me in the third one, but being a fan of the first two so much, and I almost don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but it's a heart-wrenching story. And if you're a fan of the first two, it hits. Because I guess, like, when Clerks came out, I was, like, a little younger than those guys' age. But it's like you grow up with these characters, and now they're older. And, like, it hit on a different level, me being in my 40s. I was like, wow.
I will spoil a little bit of it. In the third one, there's this theme throughout Clerks where I forget, what is Dante's friend's name in the films? Jeff. So Jeff's character is like this humongous hockey and Star Wars fan. And like he lets it known through dialogue. In the first, second, and third, there's always a part in the film where Jeff is describing the movie of Star Wars in some capacity. And the way he's describing it is fucking hilarious. Yeah. He's like, and then...
Well, the actor's name is Jeff. I'm sorry. His character name is Randall.
Randall, that's right.
Randall.
That's right.
Yeah.
Randall. And
gotta
Randall...
correct that.
I will. But yeah, like, and so, I mean, just the way he describes it, he's like, and who fucking storms through the fucking door but Luke fucking Skywalker in the same demeanor as he was before? And he's just going into it. And in the very last one, it was not up until the very end. I think Kevin did that for people like me because we're waiting for the random rant from Randall about the new Star Wars film.
Nice alliteration there, brother.
Right. And fucking Randall, something happens to him. He ends up in the hospital, and there's a scene where they check back up on him while he's still in the hospital, and he's awake now, and he's talking to the nurse. And he's talking to the nurse about the new Disney series, Bounty Hunter. I forget what it's called. God, what is that new Star Wars shit called it's the...
Boba Fett?
It's the series about the one before Boba Fett. Hold on, I gotta look it up.
I'm not a big Star Wars guy, so
know,
I don't know.
Neither.
But I know I've heard of it because I've heard of all that stuff. It's got
Pascal in it.
Pedro Pascal,
yeah, Pedro Pascal. Hold on, let me look it up. Pedro Pascal, and he was in The Mandalorian. So,
okay,
Disney released this series, Mandalorian, on Disney, and it's following this like bounty hunter throughout the whole time.
Yeah,
and at the end of the series, sorry, spoiling shit again, guys. Luke fucking Skywalker, around the same time as Return of the Jedi, enters the ship at the last episode, and it blows people's minds. And I remember as a fan, like, I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, but I'll watch it all for other personal reasons. But I keep up with it, and I watched that series till the end, and it was the very first season. And then, sure enough, at the end, almost like the last 20 minutes of Clerks 3 or the last 30 minutes, they go into Randall's hospital room, and he's chatting up this nurse, and he's like all bandaged up and fucked up in the hospital thing. And he's going on and on about that part of The Mandalorian. And I just thought that was great, man. I really appreciated Kevin for like keeping consistent themes throughout the movies that he created, and we all love. And I mean, he did different stuff with each of them, but he also incorporated some of the same stuff. And I fucking appreciated him about that. But you know what? Well, we're chatting up Kevin Smith a little bit too much for someone that doesn't even subscribe to the show. And I think that's about time to get in to the motherfucking hype train.
Hell yeah.
No hype train. No hype train yet.
No, do it. I was gonna intro
right
us to the hype train.
Hype train, baby.
Should I start it off, or you want to start it off?
Man, you start it off. You start it off because I don't know which one it's going to be yet.
Hell yeah. Doing it on the fly. I love it.
I love it.
this week I've got the new film from Greek director Yorgos Lanthimos. Once again, I might be butchering names over here, so just let me know in the comments how you actually pronounce it if I'm saying it wrong. But he's got a new film called Begonia coming out. And it's coming out on Halloween, October 31st, right? The basic IMDb plot they give is two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying the planet Earth. So, basically, the notable cast you've got here is Emma Stone is playing the CEO, Michelle, and Jesse Plemons is playing one of the kidnappers, Teddy. What's interesting about this is the third film in a row that Emma Stone has done with this director. Her first one was Poor Things, and then she did Kinds of Kindness, and now she's doing this. And even more interesting is this is the second film in a row that Jesse Plemons is doing, because he was in Kinds of Kindness, and now he's going to be in this. So it's almost like this director, he's like, hey, while I got you here, let's just shoot another movie, guys. Like, he keeps doing this with actors, and it's great. For people who aren't familiar with this director, he's made some really good movies. His movies that are the big ones, obviously, I mentioned Poor Things. That was huge during Oscar season. It got a lot of buzz. Before that, he did a great movie with Colin Farrell called The Lobster. And he did one, I can't remember, 5 or 6 years ago called Killing of a Sacred Deer. That was, I thought, phenomenal. I thought it was really interesting. So, yeah, that's my pick. Begonia, coming out on Halloween. So just a few weeks,
Check
guys.
it out, guys. Fucking hype train. I'm fucking hyped. I like it. Well, my hype train's probably gonna make you upset, Jacob, because I know you're really looking forward to this one. You probably wish you picked it, but I picked it before you.
No,
and I'm
that's
gonna
okay,
take the
because
lead.
I know what it might be, and I even told my wife, I said, I'm going to let him just take this one for
I'm
me.
probably gonna have to, baby. I think we're all fucking ready for this movie, and I think why we're all so ready for it is because we ain't gotta wait 10 years for this one like we had to wait for the fucking sequel. But this one is Avatar, Fire in motherfucking Ash, coming December 19th. Now, guys, if you don't like Avatar, shut the fuck up. And if you do like Avatar, then you are dying for this fucking film. And I'm so glad that it's coming out around Christmas time because I fucking hate Christmas. And this movie makes Christmas better because it's like, hey, at least I get to go see the new fucking Avatar movie. Now, for those that don't remember, dude, we waited entirely too long for the sequel to this film. And it's kind of weird that we did because it was so successful. I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of the most successful releases ever. And fun little fact, when I was in the Army and I was stationed in Bahrain, Stephen Lang actually came to my work site and introduced himself
Ooh.
to all of the soldiers. And I was actually at the launching station
Oh,
when
that's
he
cool.
came out. He introduced himself to everyone. We actually all got called into the cafeteria and he was answering questions and giving speeches. And the one question that everyone in the fucking room had was about the Western he did with Kurt, what's his name? Kurt Lewis,
Russell?
Kurt Russell, and it was called Tombstone. And everybody had more questions about that, but the other question that everybody else had was, when the fuck are we gonna see Avatar 2? And
Yeah.
he gave us a really good answer at the time. He was like, guys, movies like this, as far as scheduling and just, nailing down a date is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about this one. I really enjoyed the sequel. I thought the sequel was, if not as good as the first, maybe just a little bit better. And I don't know who's behind it and everything. I know the director's got a huge part of it.
James Cameron.
I know he's a huge part of why these films are successful, but there's got to be some more behind the story of how this was created. Like, I'm sure you know more about it than I do.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of an Avatar geek. I like Avatar. I don't get all the haters. I get that some people say, oh, it's derivative of Fern Gully or Dances with Wolves, but
Dances with Wolves? Please
it,
stop.
it's really like
You
it
could
gets compared to that.
You could
Yeah.
draw comparisons to it, dude, but come on, man. Like,
like I
there was
think
no
that
war at the end, like, of Dances with Wolves, guys. The soldiers weren't fighting the fucking Indians like they were at the end of the first one. Please stop. Like,
yeah. I think my caveat is, look, guys, if you don't like Avatar, just take a little bit of mushrooms and then watch
yeah,
it.
dude.
You'll like it. It's good. Okay.
Or just shut
And
the fuck up. We don't care. It's clear as day. You are the minority in this situation. Everybody loves fucking Avatar, all right? Everybody.
I mean, dude, the box office receipts show it. I mean, it's
Right.
highest grossing movie of all time. Then it gets beat, and then Avatar 2 comes out, and it beats it again.
Beats that,
so it's
yeah.
just like,
It's like, what
I
are y'all
think
guys complaining about? Like, seriously.
Fire and Ash, I'm excited. For anybody who's been following this or looking into it, Cameron famously doesn't give out many details, but the one thing he has alluded to with this one is that for all the haters out there who are like, this is a story about blue people that live on another planet that are all better than people on Earth, he's hinted at one day you're going to see these Na'vi that aren't so good. And that's what it looks like we're going to see in this one. And, so we're going to get a little mixture of, like, yeah, there's some bad Na'vi out there too, and they're ready to
Some
crack
dark
some
Navi,
heads.
dude.
So
You know,
yeah,
the one thing I saw that I think is a little bit different, Kate Winslet is going to be in this one, which I don't think she was in the first or the second one, was she?
no, but she has collaborated with James Cameron on a couple different movies.
Well, so
She was
she's got
famously in Titanic.
right.
That was the big one, So yeah,
We all remember.
maybe they'll turn
We all
Leo
remember the
into an
Titanic.
Avatar in part 4. Who knows? Get
I don't
Leo
know,
in
but I'm looking at the cast. I'm looking at the cast right now, and it says Kate Winslet right next to Zoe Saldana's name, which I
yeah,
fucking love Zoe Saldana. If you
Yeah.
love her in this movie, guys, go check out Colombiana. That was a great film that she did. But yeah,
Yeah, they back in the day they used to, I mean, maybe some people still refer to her, but they used to refer to Sigourney Weaver as like the queen of sci-fi because she was in the Alien movies and
she's
did
in
other
this one
stuff.
as well. She'll be making a third appearance.
Yeah, I think Zoe Saldana in the modern age is the queen of sci-fi. The Star Trek movies, the Avatar
I forgot about
movies.
that.
There was another one she was in that I was just like, she is killing it in these kind of movies. Like, I love her.
She's a real beautiful person. I've watched a lot of interviews with her, and now look, I've never worked with her before or know anything
Yeah.
along those lines. Like, I'm sure everybody's difficult to work with in some extent. I've read certain pieces about her, but from what I can tell, dude, she's an awesome person. I think she recently just did a T-Mobile commercial with the guy
Yeah.
that's in Tron, and the actual guy that plays her boyfriend in the commercial is her actual boyfriend. So
Yeah.
I
I
thought that
saw
was a
that
little
commercial the other day. It even says her actual
boyfriend. Yeah, and I thought that
yeah.
was a little interesting in it. It's just like, dude, for her to like go out on a limb for someone that she loves to incorporate him into like her world, and I know he got paid for that commercial, so it's like, I don't know. I think Zoe Saldana, I've always liked her from The Losers. That was the first film I saw her in that I loved her in, and she was in Colombiana was a big one. There was a one, oh yeah, she did a movie with Bradley Cooper called The Book, I think is what it was called. And that is a great fucking film, guys. I think it's called The Book, and it's just about an author who wrote this really great book, and he put it in a leather briefcase that somehow he lost it, or he left it on a train. And Bradley Cooper goes to France, and he's in this like vintage store, and he finds the suitcase with the story in it. and he takes it for himself and makes it his own book.
Ooh.
Yeah, and there's so much drama behind it, and Zoe Saldana
I haven't seen that one. I'll have to check it
plays
out.
Bradley. Dude, you got to check that one out. Zoe Saldana actually plays Bradley Cooper's wife/girlfriend in the film, and it's really fucking good. I really enjoyed that film. But
Yeah.
yeah,
As usual, guys, we'll have our links for our hype train picks so you can watch the trailers. They'll be down in the description with everything else. Also, you know, we've got links to our playlist in there. If you haven't seen some of our other episodes, just sit and binge them, brother. Get in there. Check them out.
right. I think I'm going to start adding every single movie we talk about almost. Like if we mention the movie at all, I'm going to put the link of the trailer into the description. I just think
Do you want to give a brief no spoiler review of one of your hype train picks that you went and saw last night?
Yeah, you do. That's a great fucking idea. So I recently went and saw Paul Thomas Anderson's new film, One Battle After Another. And
no spoilers.
No spoilers. I won't give you any spoilers. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought it was phenomenal. The acting was phenomenal. Certainly the directing was just fucking top notch. I had a little problem with the way it ended, but other than that, like, I loved it. I thought it was an incredible story. I really didn't know what I was walking into from the description, and I really appreciated that because I don't like doing that. I don't like walking in with like a great synopsis. I just want, you know, and what the synopsis was far from what the film actually was about.
Yeah.
And the pacing was phenomenal. The editing was insane. The acting was even better. I love this fucking film. I thought it was Sean Penn in this film, guys. This was one of the craziest roles he's ever done. I mean, Sean Penn truly plays a fucking psychopath in this movie, man. And it's got a lot of dark lore around it. It's got a lot of sinister, like, made up groups and storylines. And it's like a fucking video game. I fucking enjoyed every second of it, man. And
awesome.
Yeah,
so
I'm glad
I
picked that one. I'm glad I picked that one. Do you got anything you want to shout out that you've seen? Other than you, I think you already did.
No, I shouted it out last time. I saw. Gosh,
that's right.
But I shouted it out in the last episode already.
You
so
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're gonna keep going. You know, I'm certainly about to go see The Rock's new film. I think I'm about to go see that this weekend, dog. To be honest, with you, because I'm really looking forward to that shit. That shit looks really good. But other than that, guys, we're done flicking off for now. But again, we are going to be flicking off here, same time, same place, 12 a.m. Monday. We'll be picking another movie, linking it to this movie. Again, guys, for those that are just new to this show and you've made it this far, smash that fucking subscribe button, smash that like button, send us a comment, and we got a little contest going on. If you can guess the next link to, and not just the link, but what is the next film we're going to do. If you can guess that, guys, drop it in the comment section. Leave your Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, whatever y'all guys got. And if you guess it correctly, we're going to send you 100 bones straight to your account. No questions asked. As soon as I see that movie title in the comment section, I'm going to bless you with $100. And who knows, maybe the next contest we'll run will be for 200. But for now, it's just 100. And I'm really looking forward to somebody getting it right, because I really just don't think y'all are. And we love you. We really appreciate all the new comments, all the new subscribers. We've gotten a ton of feedback on the new intro. We're so glad you guys liked it. And again, guys, we're going to be flicking off here next week, same time. We love you. Jacob, I love you. We're going to get the fuck out of here,
guys. Love you too, brother. Peace.